All right, we're rolling. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off just kind of organizing our content. What I do at the beginning of any video project, I create kind of like your main folder. We'll just call it, well, usually the best kind of like naming convention is doing the year and then the month and the day. And then we'll call it snakes versus iguana, something, whatever, that's fine. And then inside this folder, what we're going to do is going to create a couple more. One called footage, one called Premiere.
This is very important to create everything in one folder because things can get messy a lot, and you might lose lose files if you don't do that.
Generally, what I do too, you don't have to do this, but I just store all of this like on like a hard drive too. And then just keep all of my footage and media and just edit off of that hard drive. If you do like put this in one spot and like move things around, it'll kind of mess things up within Premiere, and you'll have to go like relink your media. You'll have to go like find where you moved it to. But you can relink it if you accidentally move it or something like that.
So when you create the Premiere file, what you see on the tracks are pointers to the actual files. So that's why if you move these around, if you put something on desktop, then you decide, oh, I'm going to put it on C drive, that changes. The pointer doesn't understand by itself that you moved it. So you have to tell the Premiere again that you moved the files. So that's why it's important from the beginning to decide where you want to put them and to keep them there.
See, if you had like, for today, we don't really have photos, but if you had like a photo, like, photos that you wanted in your project, or if you wanted some graphics or stuff like that, you could create like a graphics folder or a photos folder. And then if you have like music or music tracks, you can just throw that into this audio folder that you've created. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab our media. So we have, this is what the flash drive looks like. So it creates folders. It says Adkins, SMP, whatever that is. But then inside, you've got your video and your audio file. So what I'm going to do is go to footage, go into that. And then we did two clips. We did that intro clip where they introduced themselves, and then we did the full run. So what I'm going to do is move both of those video files into the footage folder. I'm going to go back out. I'm going to click into audio. And I'm going to go get that audio from the Zoom H5, this thing right here. And so I think that's in stereo. Maybe it's, let's see. Let's try multi. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Yep, okay. So that's the long clip, and then, whoops, let's see.
And Mark, you're recording all of this?
Yep, I'm recording everything. And so let me make sure this is the intro one. Yeah, I think this is the intro one.
And we're here today.
Okay, so that's the intro. That's the intro audio from this, and then the other clip is the full run. So we've got our stuff pretty much organized how we need it. Did you ask something? Sorry.
I said I'm sorry. I called you Mark, but you're Thomas.
Yeah, it's all good. So now we've got our folder ready to go. What we're going to do is open up Premiere now. And so this is what Premiere looks like when you first open it. A great thing about a lot of Adobe programs is that they have this Learn tab, which is a great resource. You can click on that, and there's a lot of like built-in tutorial videos. Some are like intermediate, advanced, beginner, and it'll show you how long each one is. So that this is like a 4-minute one on animation basics. But yeah, lots of different tutorials that are built into here, which are really great. And they give you like the assets for the little tutorial too, so you can play around with the video clips and the things that they're showing you in the tutorial. They give you access to those too. For today, what we're going to do is just click on New Project. And then we'll go to our desktop where we created that folder. And then we will just check this. And so we could go inside here and like check individual things. Like there's no folders. There's nothing in that Premiere folder yet either. So we could go and do this too. But if you're in that like top level folder and just check that, it'll bring everything inside too. Another thing we're going to want to do is we're going to pick where our project file goes. And so we'll name it Snakes versus Iguana. And then from this drop down here, we want to click Choose Location. And so we go back to our desktop, back in that folder that we made. And then now we're going to click inside that Premiere folder that we made. So this is where our project file is going to be. So if we ever need to go back and change anything to our edits, re-export a video, something like that, we can go to this Premiere folder that we've created on the desktop, and the project file will be in there. So you can go and double click on that. It'll open up Premiere and your edit and everything that you've done. So now I'm going to click Create, the bottom right. So it brings all our media in. We've got our 2 audio files from the Zoom and the 2 video files from the room. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we're in the editing workspace. So right now I'm in captions and graphics. I was working on a project and we needed to caption it. So I was in a different workspace, but editing is the one that you're going to be in the most. So just make sure you click on Window, Workspaces, and then Editing. And this is sort of the layout of what it will look like. You've got these 4 panels. So the bottom right is your timeline. This is where you're going to be editing things and cutting up things and rearranging things. The top left, so if you add any sort of like visual effects or anything to any of your video clips, this is kind of where that will be. Your top right is where it's like your viewer, so you can see what you're doing. And then your bottom left is going to house all your media and then all your effects. So this is where you can add like video transitions and video effects if you want to change like the color, you want to make it black and white, something like that. If you click on this little effects tab and then video effects, there's a ton of different things built in here, which are really cool, and you can play around with that and get as crazy as you want. Video transitions are here. We'll go over that in a bit. We're going to do like a fade in, fade out sort of at the beginning and end. But we want to click back on this project tab, which has all of our media. And what we're going to do is just drag and drop this onto the timeline. And so this is sort of our workspace. And it's split right here by this gray line. From here up, it's going to be all your visual layers. And from here down, it's going to be all your audio layers. So if you want to bring in music, you could throw that into your bottom left box here. You can just go and find that in your Finder or your My Documents, throw it in here, and then you can drop that on a lower layer in your timeline if you wanted like music in the background or something like that. So we've got our intro clip, and then we want this one as well. I can just drag and drop that. And then I think this one is actually here. If you need like a little bit more space in the bottom, like if your clips are really long, this little thing at the very bottom, you can click and drag that to kind of give you some more room. You can always highlight things and just drag them around to this whole area down here. You can just play around with things and rearrange the ordering of things. I'm fairly certain this one that's a little bit too long. That this like 4-minute audio clip has the intro in it, I think. So now when I press play, the audio sync is not going to be synced up though, because I started recording this way before we started doing your intro. So one of the greatest tools that I use a ton in Premiere is the audio synchronization. So what you're going to do is make sure that they're just above each other on the timeline. You select them both, right click, and then what you're going to do is click on synchronize right here. Make sure that audio is checked. You click OK. It's going to basically analyze both clips and line up where the audio matches. So let's see if that worked. Looked like it did.
I didn't see it moving. It seems that you put it so.
Yeah, it seemed really close, right?
Yeah.
Let's over here on the left of the audio tracks too, you've got this M, so you can mute one. So let me mute the bottom one.
Hello, my name is Campbell, and we're here today with Sarah Coates to talk about snakes and...
Okay, so that's the audio quality of the audio from the room, which is fine, works great. And then let's see if the other worked. I have to turn this down a little bit.
Sarah Coates to talk about snakes and iguanas.
So just a lot clearer. If you can get this close to your mouth, it's just gonna sound a lot better. It's not gonna be applicable in every scenario. Like maybe you don't want this like in the shot or something like that. You could frame your shot to where this is like right out of frame, but like kind of close to their mouth too. But this gives incredible like radio quality audio. So for the remainder of this, we'll just use the audio from the Zoom. So we'll just keep this track muted. We have just a bunch of extra audio though in front and in the back of this. So there's two ways that we can handle this. We can take the razor tool, which is the most commonly used tool in Premiere probably, between this and just the selection tool, which is your arrow tool. So you can click on the razor tool and then you can go, and it has like a snap to it. It knows that like probably at the front of this clip is where you want to make that cut. You can go and you can click there, and then at the back end you can click there, get your selection tool back, drag and select that, press delete, drag and select that, press delete, click in the empty space in front of everything, delete that, and it shifts everything over. And so now you've got your audio matches up with the length of your video clip. We still have to cut some of this down though, because we don't want all of this like extra stuff in the beginning. So let's find a spot where we want it to begin and end. So we think, and this blue line right here is called the playhead. So what I'm doing is just clicking on that little arrow at the top of it and just sort of like, it's called scrubbing through the timeline, just to find the spot where I think we want to start, which looks like right around here. So I can either go get that razor tool again and make the cut and delete everything, or I can hover over the front of the clip and your cursor will turn into this sort of red arrow, and I can click and drag it and it gets rid of it that way as well. Same with the audio. I'm going to click that empty space, delete it, it shifts everything over.
My name is Campbell, and we're here today with Sarah Coates to talk about snakes and iguanas.
Perfect. So that's a good end spot. So what we'll do is the same. We'll hover over the end of the clip. It turns into that red arrow. Click and drag it, and it gets rid of all that. So now I can click in between this space here. It's that big gap. Click delete. It shifts that everything over. And let's find a good start spot. So I think like right around here is where I started it. Gonna hover over that. Delete it. And then, oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't synchronize the audio from the Zoom and the second clip. So let's do that. Let's select both of these. Let's move them over a little bit to give them some space. Right click on it, synchronize, make sure audio is checked, click OK. And you saw at that time, it shifted over to the right. The top clip shifted over to the right. So let's match these up. And then, now let's see where I think. Okay, so that's a good starting place. Let's see where we end. And the longer that you kind of edit video, I just drag the bottom of these layers down a bit to make them a little bit bigger. like you can kind of see the waveforms of the audio. So like right here, I know like people were probably laughing or something loud happened right here. And then at the very end, these spikes at the end are when everybody was probably clapping. So let's see. Yep. So that's a pretty good spot to end, I think. So now that we have like chopped up everything, so you could go in, like say there was a section within the video that we wanted to remove, you can go in and like, you know, cut wherever you needed to cut and remove that section out of the middle. So if you had like a, you know, like a bad take in your recording or something like that, you can cut things out, delete it, and that's another way you can use the razor tool, which is helpful. I'll just go ahead and undo those. Command Z is undo, but you can also just do edit, undo up here as well. So say we're happy with our edit, it looks good. We want to add some transitions to it to make it look a little bit more professional. We want to go to this effects tab that I mentioned at the beginning. We want to click on video transitions, dissolve, and then dip to black. It will sort of fade in from black and then it'll fade out to black. So we're going to click on that. And video transitions, you can drag and drop them, but it has to be either at the beginning of the clip, the end of a clip, or in between two clips where two clips meet. You can't just drag and drop it anywhere on the clip because it's happening, you know, at the beginning or end. So we'll drag and drop it at the beginning there, and you can see it small, but you can see it there and it says dip to black if you zoom into it. And if you actually click on it as well, you can make it last however long you want by just clicking on the end of it. This little, it turns into that sort of almost that red arrow from earlier, and then you can click and drag it to make it last however long you want. So we've got one at the front. Let's drag and drop one at the end. And so to match this sort of visual transition, I want to add in sort of an audio fade in too, so it's not so abrupt at the beginning. So to do that, I'm going to drop down audio transitions, drop down crossfade, and add an exponential fade at the beginning here, and then at the end here as well. So I'll play this so you guys can see it. And so it's subtle. It's a subtle fade out. The audio fades out with the visuals, which is nice. But it just makes stuff look a little bit more professional. So we've got video transitions. We're happy with the edits. And now we want to add, say, like a title. Let's give us a little bit of space in the front here. So I just clicked and selected everything, dragged it over a little bit. Now what I want to do is, there's a couple different ways that you can do this. You can do File, New Legacy Title. You can do that, or what you can do is you can click into Window, Workspaces, and then Captions and Graphics. That'll open up this like new sort of workspace that you can work in. And Adobe Stock is sort of like Adobe's library that you can pull from. There's things in there that you have to pay for, but there's free versions of things too. If you wanted to add like a really fancy title to your video, or like they've got some really cool lower thirds, which that's like if somebody's like introducing themselves like they did at the beginning, you could have their name pop up and like animate in at like the very bottom corner or something to, you know, say who's who. Let me see, I think I actually have some of those, like this one here. Like, so I could drag and drop this. All right, so let me move it over just a little bit so it happens after that fade in. But this is just an example of one that you can drag and drop. So you want it on a layer above all of your other videos, so it shows if it's below it, it's going to be behind it, and you won't be able to see it. So you want to make sure that you drag and drop it above.
My name is Campbell.
But just like a quick little animated sort of intro. And there's some cool ones. Yeah, I know you're not Jeff Townsend, but you can go in and edit here. Like you could put in, you know, whatever your name is, you can edit. And then you can change like the box length, like if it doesn't fit your whole name in there. I am not a professional snowboarder, but you know, would be cool. And then you can even change the color, like say you wanted a different color behind your name. So you wanted your name and something bright, I don't know, like a blue or something. You can get as crazy as you want. But there's a lot of built-in ones that you can use. But all that's in this sort of Adobe stock that you can go in and like search this library for. Like say you wanted lower thirds, it'll bring up all the lower thirds examples, even the paid ones, but they'll be marked free if they're free ones. And then you can just drag and drop those onto your timeline, which is great. Another useful thing I saw in some of your projects, somebody had like title or credits at the end that rolled, and those are built in here too, like this angled credits one. There's some that have movement to them that'll scroll up. So those are all built into this as well. I'll go ahead and delete that, but we'll add, let me see. Oh, it's lower thirds, that's why. I just want like, let's see if there's a title one. Okay, like this will be fun. So I'll drag and drop this one on the timeline, and you can click on it and then you'll be able to edit the text. So
I think we should leave it as your title here.
your title here. All right, we'll do that. But if you did want to edit, what you do is you would click it on this, double click on that T right there, and then you could change it to whatever you want. There's some tools within this as well too. So once you click on whatever you want to affect, like these here are align tools, which are super helpful. So if you click align center vertically and align center horizontally, it'll just make it automatically right in the dead center, which is great. You can change the fill color of your text here. If you wanted to add like shadow or a background or something like that, you can check these boxes and add different effects to your text. But we'll stick with that. Let's go ahead and go back to that effects tab, go find that video transition, and we'll add a dip to black to the beginning and end of the title as well, just to make it kind of go with the rest. We'll click on this little gap here in the middle. We'll click delete to shift everything over. And so let this play through. So it has a little bit of animation to it, and then it fades out, and then it fades in, and the audio fades in. So it looks nice. Again, if you did want to add like music, there are different music libraries that you can download royalty-free music from. We went over those in last class, but there's like a YouTube Studio one that has a lot that are great. Ben Sound is one. I think I even might have downloaded one. Let me see what this is. This might be terrible, but we'll try it out. I'm gonna go to my Finder, downloads. I have this thing here, and then I'm gonna just drag and drop it down into our little media folder. Let's see what this music is. It might be like super loud too, so let me go back to our editing workspace. I'm gonna click on this music track, and then volume, I'm gonna drop it down a little bit in case it's just like super loud.
My name is Campbell, and we're here today with...
It's not bad, right? We'll go with that. So let's drop it a little bit more. So yeah, what I'm doing is I've clicked on the audio track. Up here in the left, you've got some properties of it, but for volume, I've just clicked in that level, clicked on that number. It was at 0 originally, but I knew that was going to be a little bit too loud and overbearing. So click on that, and then just dropped it down to -20. Let's try that.
To talk about snakes and iguanas. Like going all over each other, showing their snake love to each other.
Not bad, right? We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Another new feature in Premiere, which is awesome. Like I could have used this so much when I was like, I've done like wedding videos and things like that. So if you see right here, this is a great example. So the music track doesn't go for the whole video. It's like a little bit short. So I think this is in the right click. So if you click on right click on the music track and then you click enable remix, it's gonna analyze the clip. And now what I can do is I can click and drag it. Maybe it's stretch. Let's try that. Maybe struggling. Let's see. So we know it ends, if we go to the very end of the video, it's like it ends around 2:15:04. So if we add in this target duration, let's see if it works this way. 2:15:04. There we go. So at one point I thought you could just drag it to whatever length you needed it. But it looks like if you figure out how long you need it to be, you can just go into this target duration, type in how long you want it, and it'll stretch it out to that length, which is super helpful. Okay. So we've got our music on the layer below it. We have our video transitions. We've cut it up how we want it. We've got a title. And now what we want to do is export it from the program. What you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you click down somewhere in the timeline here where it's highlighted in blue around it. And then you're going to click File, Export, Media. You're going to click on the only thing that's blue right here. You're going to click on the desktop, go to your folder. And I forgot to create this folder, but this is one that you'll need, which you can create it now, so it doesn't really matter that much, but you'll need an exports folder in here. And then you'll click save, and then you'll want to rename your file to whatever you want to name it, snakes versus iguana. You want to toggle this arrow by video down, click on more, and then check these two boxes, render at maximum depth and use maximum render quality. And then you're going to click export. And depending on how quick your computer is and how long your edit is, this can take a little bit longer. But yeah, this is like less than 20 seconds to export this from Premiere. So this is creating the video file that you can like upload to YouTube or to whatever site that you're submitting your classwork to. So that got the successfully exported little thing at the bottom there, and then we can go to our desktop, we go in our folder, we click on exports, and our MP4 is there. And so that's another thing. When we went to export media, we want to make sure under format that H.264 is checked. And H.264 is just a video codec that's just, it's going to be high quality, but it's going to compress the file, so it's not this massive file, but it's going to be really solid quality. So just make sure that that's on that. I'm going to go ahead, let me see. Okay, so you mind just shutting that one more time? I'm gonna play the video through and it might be a little loud, and then we can crack it back open. Thank you. So in our exports folder, we've got our exported video. Go ahead and open that up in like QuickTime or whatever player you have. Let's go full screen, let's watch it. Your title here.
Hello, my name is Campbell, and we're here today with
Sarah Kate.
to talk about snakes and iguanas. Like going all over each other, showing their snake love to each other.
Look at that slithering of the snake.
Ooh, so majestic. Ooh, little tongue moment. Did you know I can actually do a snake with my hands as well? Let me show. It's just like the ones on the screen there.
So it looks like the snake is coming up to the iguana, maybe ready to attack.
Are they going to attack or may they be friends? This is a love story that we are not sure how it ends. Oh, it's getting closer. But maybe the snake is not interested at all. Maybe it's going to slither right past the iguana.
The iguana is looking a little suspicious.
We have some intense eye contact here. And oh, the snake has disappeared. Or maybe it's
almost
camouflaging.
Camouflage.
Oh my goodness. Little camouflaging.
Iguana.
So as
running for his
predicted,
life.
this love story is taking a turn. The iguana is running as many snakes are coming from all directions. Oh, this is quite sad. This is quite sad.
Let's see if he can escape.
This is a quick iguana. It has gone straight into the trap. It is being constricted. Oh my, oh, it's like a little ball.
The snakes are forming a ball.
It is almost like in the Jungle Book, the cobra snake.
Oh, it escaped.
Oh, wow. The iguana is impressive.
Look at how fast
It
these
is like a billy
creatures
goat
move.
climbing up the mountain. Wow.
The snakes are still trying.
Oh, this is a quick snake.
Oh, that jump.
Oh. Wow.
Oh,
and
that
he
jump.
leaps. This iguana has many skills.
Looks like the iguana got away.
All right. Any questions so far? I know I hit you guys with a lot. Again, this whole thing was recorded, so we'll be able to send this out. Sure.
So I did notice that there was a slight delay in
In the audio?
the audio.
Oh, really?
versus the way they were talking.
Yeah,
I didn't even
wasn't
notice
sure
it.
if that was the computer lagging or if it's the way it bounced or like.
Let me see.
Because the sync was right and for
Oh, it's camouflaging. Oh my goodness.
Is it different on the screen as it is on your monitor?
I think it is.
So as predicted, this
Yeah, it must be a lag in the HDMI.
Yeah.
On the actual video, looks good. And I'll send your professor this video too, so you guys can have it. But it looks good. So it must be an HDMI issue.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know that right now, it split screen
Mhm.
by itself, but
Yep.
what if you had like a screen recording and then another recording of just yourself, like in separate clips? How would you put them together from your phone?
So that's a good question. So say like okay, so hypothetically, let's say this second clip was like full screen and it was like the whole snake video. And then we had recorded separately, just like in this kind of format, the whole like talking portion. What we could do,
Place them above each other and resize them.
so we would have to choose which audio that we wanted to prioritize because, it would be the talking portion. So what we would do, we would need to. So it looks like we've like run out of like audio tracks. But if you right click down here and you click Add Track, it'll add more. And so let's just shift some of these things down just to sort of get them out of the way. So that's the music and then the audio from the Zoom. But then what we could do here is that we could shift this one up one, shift this audio down, down a track. And then if we move it over, it would be like this. And then we could mute whichever one, which this one's muted. So,
that slithering of the snake.
I think this one down here, though, is not. So it's not going to be synced up exactly right, but this is how you would hypothetically do it. And so then what you would do is you'd click on that top clip, And then in the top left here, this is where you can kind of move things around and scale things differently. So you've got scale under motion and you have position under motion. So say we want to like move this down in size, and then position, we wanted to shift it over and like put it in one of the corners. You could just adjust it like that, and then you can move it wherever you want it and resize it however you want it. But that's all done under this motion tab here. And then it even has like rotation, so if you needed to rotate it a little bit, you can rotate it a little bit. So that's how you would handle that.
Can't you also double click it to move it around?
If you've got your selection tool, you might be able to actually. Yep. There you go.
So these are the types of questions that I would love you to ask for the rest of the semester, where if you see something that you like in a documentary or in a video, and you wonder how to ask me, and we can Google it together. Some stuff I know, others I just Google them or look at the learning library that Thomas talked about at the beginning of the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are lots of lessons that are good, but it's good to ask these questions and learn how to do them.
I'm trying to think of like some really good video editors that I follow. Mark Bone is really good. He does like, he's a documentary filmmaker, and he's got a lot of great like tutorial videos on YouTube. So he's a good one to follow.
What's his name again?
Mark Bone. And I'll get a list of some others too that would be good to check out.
So this is free to use just right next door in that little...
It's free to use in the makerspace, and there are a lot of like free video editors that these same kind of tools and everything that are in this program will transfer over to that. Another great program that's free that you can just download on your Mac or your PC or whatever machine you're using is called OpenShot Video Editor. I'm trying to think if I had it on here. Yeah. Okay, there it goes. So this is what OpenShot looks like, and it works very similarly. You've got your timeline down here, your player up top. You have your effects and transitions down here. And then project files, you just drag and drop things into here. Plus is sort of your import button, so you click that to bring in your media, or you can just drag and drop it into this top left square. You can, layer things just like you do in Premiere on here with, there's no like split, so you could do like audio, video, photo, whatever, however you wanted to rearrange things. And then to export your videos from this is this red sort of record button. I don't know why they went with that, but that's how you export media from OpenShot.
I guess you have to go in there with like headphones to edit the video because it's like a shared space.
It is a shared space. We do have headphones available for checkout at the desk. But people will go in there. I mean, it's like pretty quiet in the space. Like you could go in there and, have your audio somewhat low and still listen to it straight off the machine. That'd be fine.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Do we need to bring our own SD card to rent the mic?
So the mic comes with an SD card. You don't have to check one out separately or anything. It's already in the microphone, just ready to go. Yep.
Do you guys, can you rent out like extensions for your computer? Because I know mine doesn't have an SD slot.
So we have card readers that'll just go into like a regular USB slot. If you've got that on your computer, it's a little small card reader that it's got regular SD card size and micro SD card on it.
So if you have like a Mac that has only USB-C ports, you just have to bring something that adapts to a USB.
You could do that, or you could just the machines in the multimedia lab, they have SD card slots in the back of them, so you could just plug straight into that, and they've got the regular USB size too, and then just
Email it to or something?
exactly,
Okay.
just put it in your Google Drive or something like that.
I have like an adapter, like there's pretty cheap like adapters that get like you get a bunch of USB-C slots and like HDMI stuff. So.
Yeah, that's something that that's on like whenever we have funding for like for more purchases that we can buy for equipment. That's on the list of like to just get a bunch of those adapters because people are asking for them all the time.
Don't you love Apple not supporting industry
Right.
standards?
Well, it's crazy because they're kind of going back and like adding more ports because this is like one of their newer ones, and they added an SD card slot and HDMI and a lot of ports back because people are complaining so much. They're just like, I've got 1 or 2 ports that's USB-C. It's not helpful. So I'm glad that they're sort of reverting back and giving us more ports.
Don't they even have like a headphone jack now?
Mm-hmm. Yep. They got a headphone jack.
The-
Which is,
Incredible.
yeah.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So just kidding.
I'm still rocking an iPhone 6 because I want that headphone jack.
I hear you. All right. Well, that's pretty much what I have for you guys today.